Have you ever found yourself 2 hours into a terrible movie, but you keep watching just because you've already invested the time? Or maybe it's a job that drains your soul, but you've been there for years. Quitting now would feel like throwing all that time away. This feeling, this powerful, illogical pull to keep going down a path simply because we've already started walking, has a name. It's called the sunk cost fallacy, and it's one of the most common psychological traps we fall into, quietly sabotaging our decisions and our happiness. So, what exactly is a sunk cost? In economics, it's any cost that has already been paid and cannot be recovered. Think of it as spilled milk. You can't get it back in the carton. The fallacy part happens when we let those unrecoverable costs, the spilled milk, influence our future decisions. We irrationally believe that our past investment justifies further spending, even when it's clear it's a losing game. The British and French governments famously did this with the Concorde supersonic jet. Even when it was clear it wouldn't be profitable, they kept pouring money into it, partly because they had already invested so much. They were caught in the Concorde fallacy. We do this on a smaller scale all the time. Ever overate at a buffet just to get your money's worth? That's the sunk cost fallacy. The money is gone, whether you eat 1 plate or 5. You might be in a degree program that you realize you hate, but you're 2 years in. The thought of wasting those 2 years keeps you on a path that makes you miserable instead of switching to something you're passionate about. It's a huge factor in relationships, too. People stay in unhappy partnerships for years because they've invested so much time and built a life together. The fear of that investment being for nothing can feel more painful than the unhappiness of staying. So why are we wired this way? It's not because we're bad at math. It's about psychology. First, there's loss aversion. Psychologically, the pain of losing something feels twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something equivalent. Quitting feels like accepting a definite loss, and our brains hate that. We also have a deep need to appear consistent and justify our past decisions. Admitting a project, a career, or a relationship isn't working is like admitting we made a mistake, and that can be a huge blow to the ego. This creates something called cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable feeling of holding two conflicting beliefs. I am a smart person, and I made a bad decision. To resolve this tension, it's often easier to just keep going. It's the ultimate "this is fine" meme in real life. In the world of finance, this is a classic trap. An investor might hold on to a losing stock, hoping it will rebound, not because of future potential, but because they don't want to accept the loss on their initial investment. Business owners might keep pouring money into a failing product line. They've invested their heart, soul, and savings. Letting go feels like a personal failure, not just a business decision. Even on a personal level, think about that creative project you started. Maybe you know deep down it's not working, but you've spent so many hours on it. The sunk cost isn't just time, it's your creative energy. Or that career path you chose. You got the degree, you did the training, you've climbed a few rungs on the ladder. But what if the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall? The problem is, clinging to these sunk costs doesn't just waste more resources. It robs us of the opportunity to use that time, money, and energy on something better. The real glow up is admitting something isn't the vibe anymore and moving on. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. The costs are already sunk. They are gone, like a Snapchat message. So how do we escape this trap? How do we learn to cut our losses and move on? First, try the fresh eyes approach. Imagine you are encountering this situation for the first time, with no prior investment. Would you still choose this path? If a friend described your situation, what would you advise them to do? Focus only on future costs and future benefits. The past is irrelevant to the decision you need to make right now. The only question that matters is,
given where I am today, what is the best choice for my future? Consider the opportunity cost. Every minute, every dollar, every ounce of energy you spend on the failing thing is a resource you can't spend on a new relationship, a new career, or a new project that could bring you joy and success. Accepting a loss is not the same as being a failure. In fact, recognizing a losing endeavor and having the courage to walk away is a sign of strength and wisdom. It's a strategic retreat.
There's a strange poetry to the sunk cost fallacy. It's born from our best intentions: loyalty, commitment, the refusal to be a quitter. We honor the ghost of the effort we once gave. But we forget that our resources are finite. Our time, our emotional energy, they are not renewable resources we can simply will back into existence. They are the currency of our lives. Letting go isn't an admission of defeat. It's an act of reallocation. It's pruning a dying branch so the tree can grow stronger in a new direction. It's about giving your future self the gift of a clean slate. It's honoring your past self by learning from the experience, but not allowing that past to hold your future self hostage. The money is already spent. The years have already passed. The effort has been given. Acknowledging that is not failure. It is simply accounting. So here's the heart of it. That project that's going nowhere, that relationship that has run its course, that job that feels like a dead end, you have permission to let go. You have permission to change your mind. Your past investment does not own your future. The goal isn't to never make a wrong turn. It's to not stay on the wrong road just because you've been driving on it for a while. Ask yourself, what would you do if you weren't afraid of wasting what you've already lost? The answer to that question is where your freedom begins. I'd love to hear your stories. Share a time you successfully walked away from a sunk cost in the comments below. Your story might be the permission someone else needs to hear. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the psychology of our everyday lives. Remember, the heaviest things we carry are the things we think we can't put down. Thanks for watching. Be kind to yourself and be brave enough to begin again.